You caught me combing my hair as I prepare to do the year in review for 2022. Hello and welcome to Asexualise, my asexual life. If you're new to this channel, I help asexuals with love, life, confidence, dating, relationships, and so much more. I do this through live streams such as this one, inspirational vlogs, and obviously some videos as well. So if that sounds like your thing, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you never ever miss an episode. So today I'm going to be doing a very special episode, which is all about asexuality from my perspective, my life of Asexualise in review of 2022. So I'm going to be saying the highlights, including obviously all the asexual highlights and the things that are very difficult as an asexual person. First of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon. So please grab a copy of this one, and also Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. Now, this book teaches you how to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. And so you can see the type of content that I like to produce. So go and grab a copy of that. So yes, let's crack on with today's show. So in the beginning of the year, in January 2022, I had no idea that I was going to meet two wonderful asexuals who would become two of my closest friends. So as the year started off, I had no idea that was going to happen. And that was very much one of my highlights of 2022. And we start off at the beginning of the year. I was very much focused on my career, more on building a book publishing business. So on December the 16th, 2021, I decided that I was actually going to focus on building a book publishing business. I bought in January a course, which was a writing for children's course. And that was all about how to basically write picture books, and most importantly do the illustrations for picture books. So I have written children's picture books which I've never published before. I have sent them to a traditional publisher, and they said because they're in rhyme they can't sell the foreign rights. It's really difficult to. So I've always wanted to publish those books, and I bought a children's course, which is a children's book publishing course basically. So it's not really necessarily so much to do with the writing, but children's book publishing courses are how to like put all the illustrations are specifically for picture books. So that's something I started to look at, but I've left that because I needed to finish my Asexual Guide to Sex book. Now, if you're new to this channel, you might not know that I am a sex repulsed asexual, but I do have the grey area of kissing, which can be sexual in behavior, although I have zero sexual attraction. And sometimes I have sexual behavior with the way I like to dance, but again, I have zero sexual attraction. I help asexuals all across the spectrum on this channel. And that goes from the completely sex repulsed people like myself, all the way up to the sex positive people who are asexual and participate in sex and like it as an activity to do. So I believe in everyone on the asexual spectrum is valid wherever they fall. And I believe in, people should decide for themselves whether they want sex or not. And whatever sexual orientation you are, it shouldn't be expected that sex is going to be on the table just because you're in a relationship. These things should be talked through, and the only people that should define a relationship are the people in that relationship. It shouldn't be anyone else's business. So, it really means that we should define our own relationships, not allow other people to dictate our relationships. And so I have with regards to the Asexual Guide to Sex, but you might think what's happening with that, because I'm now on over 3.5 years of writing content for that. And so this has been actually a very difficult and turbulent year in some ways for me. There's been something going on in the background, some legal stuff that I haven't been able to talk about, and I can never talk about on this channel. But that has come to an end now, and that is all done and dusted, and I can never ever talk about it. But that's all I'm going to say because I've mentioned it previously. and I'm not going to say what that's to do with anything, but that's all finished. And so I've moved on from that now. So this is really good news. But that was taking up a lot of my time. It meant that I can really focus on the Asexual Guide to Sex book. And my health has been impacted this year quite drastically. I got CPTSD symptoms, and that was quite difficult for me to deal with. And so it was a lot of like disassociation, like emotional stuff going on where I'd wake up crying and stuff. And that was very difficult for me. Um, this has lessened now in some ways. Like I don't wake up crying or like like I was before. I have some like triggers and stuff. But I'm hoping to go back and get some therapy. So I did have a therapist at the end of last year going into this beginning of this year, but it took her ages to understand me because my personality is very unique. I know it's very unique, and I'm naturally a hyper and bubbly person. But she couldn't see that side of me when I first went into therapy. It was my choice to go into therapy. I think if you've got difficult situations that are happening in your life, that it's really important to get therapy, and that is no shame in that. In actual fact, people who want to help themselves, who get the therapy, are the people that try to heal themselves the most and actually become a better version of themselves and for other people. If you have a lot of trauma in your life and you're not dealing with that and you're totally repressing it and pushing it down, it's only going to explode later on, and you might push away the people you love and really want to be close to you the most, and that's not healthy. And you might disassociate from yourself and become a really unhealthy person for yourself. And so it's very important that you do seek professional help. That's why so many people do train as therapists, counselors, psychologists. I'm not a therapist, psychologist, or counselor. I do study a lot of videos and literature, well, particularly videos mostly to do with psychology stuff. I have done a basic counseling skills course at Exeter College. I have done a weekend life coaching course with the Coaching Academy. So it's not like I don't know any of some of the basic stuff. But, I have been in therapy in the past for a lot of my life until 2014. And that was the moment my life changed. And I hadn't had therapy since the end of last year, beginning of this, from that previous time in 2014. Now, in 2014 was when I had to leave therapy because that's when I discovered I'm asexual. But I went to the therapist because I was really struggling with the fact that I love kissing so much and I really wanted to be in a romantic relationship, but I didn't want sex. And if you've seen my trailer on here, my introduction, you will understand and know that, what she did next was horrendous. And she said, that I would have to have sex in order to keep a good guy. I mean, this is horrendous advice. No one should be forcing themselves to do something, Oh, Liam. Hello, Liam, darling. How are you? Hi, beautiful Sandra. Love you so much. I'm so proud of you, Sandra, going back to therapy. Thank you, Liam. I love you, Liam is a big fan on this show, and he's in chat a lot, and he's always very supportive. Well, I actually shouldn't say he because I don't know the gender of Liam, so I'll say Liam is very, very supportive and amazing and incredible because they're really here for me, and I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and thank you for saying you're proud of me to go back to therapy. It does take a lot of guts to be able to say, hey, I've got problems, I've got difficulties, and I need help, right? But I'm the type of person that wants to heal myself the fastest way possible. And but obviously you can't always heal yourself quickly. Like I've had multiple traumas throughout my life, like in physical, mental, difficult ways, And so, and this year has been somewhat very well, especially the ending. It's been somewhat really traumatic for me. And so I feel I'm a person that's constantly having multiple traumas going on and throughout the years of my life, and it's continuous and it doesn't really stop very often. And so that is really difficult to deal with. And my therapist, even though I stopped the therapy, not by my own choice, but because the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK, there's only a certain amount of weeks they can give you therapy for, which is usually about 6 these days. I think I had 8, so I had 2 extra. But I was trying to explain that it took her a while for her to understand me. And, and I hadn't had therapy, like I said, since 2014 because I hadn't felt I needed it. I felt my mind was really, really good. And it was good until the end of December 2020 when something happened and that was really difficult. I am male. You're fine to say he. Oh, thank you, Liam. Lots of love. I really appreciate you telling me that. I've never known that. I thought it was a guy's name, but I didn't want to say, because I know some people, my best friend's non-binary. So, um, thank you for telling me that. Um, and so, yeah, so, with the therapy, I at the end, December 2020 was very difficult for me, and I got really bad depressive, suicidal thoughts, and I hate admitting that because I thought I'd never ever get back into that headspace again. But I didn't actually get therapy at that time because, there was a lot going on. But I did get therapy at the end of 2021, going into 2022. And I'm really, really happy that I got that. It was difficult in the beginning because she really didn't understand me or my personality. She didn't know how I was usually, that I'm usually very positive, very upbeat, very optimistic person. I'm, as much as possible, despite all the trauma I've experienced. And so she wasn't really used to me, and she's not used to a hyper personality. People who have got hyper personalities, naturally hyper, a lot of the time they're seen as something that's wrong with them, I think, by a lot of people's perception that I get. But if you're with the right people, as in if you're with people like you, they don't think about that. Just think, oh, she's really bubbly, she's hyper, she's got a really smashing personality. That's how I see myself. But for some people in the world who's very quiet, who's very introverted, who's very kind of withdrawn, and who kind of like goes by society's norms and etiquettes, if you like, of and also stereotypes. Like when you're young, lots of people are told, like, be quiet, children should be seen and not heard. And so people's voices are very played down as children. This causes a lot of issues later on in life because everyone believes, oh, we've just got to be quiet and we can't speak our minds, and we can't say what we feel and think because we've got to downplay everything because we'll get told off. So a lot of people's repression starts in childhood when you're taught basically to be seen and not heard. Not everyone's taught that, but I'm just saying in general, it's be quiet. I'm the caregivers are doing this, that, and the other. You shut up, you be quiet, and the voice is dampened down. You are such a strong, lovable person. So glad you're still here. Oh, thank you, Liam. Yeah, at the end of December 2020, it was really difficult for me. I don't like admitting that. I feel like, I guess I have a sense of shame, but which is weird because I don't like having a sense of shame. I don't like any kind of negative emotions because, it was the way it was, and I was in a really difficult situation. I was in a difficult situation financially, mentally, physically, because mental was having a very big impact on my physical. I was getting rashes all over my body, and it was really difficult. And I'd not had any suicidal thoughts for years. And obviously, sometimes, because I did suffer with depression in the past, sometimes you get fleeting thoughts of like the past things you used to think, and it takes a lot to actually not go there in your head. So people think when you get over depression you recovered, that's just it doesn't work like that. You have to kind of fight to maintain your head in a healthy state as possible. You have to, like, be very disciplined to try to not ever let your mind go back into dark places, and to actually catch it doing that, and to say, okay, I'm not going there. I'm not going to let my mind dictate to me what my life's going to be like. I'm not like going to allow my mind to go to dark places and stay in dark places. It's actually a struggle sometimes. It's really difficult. People, like people who've not, like, it takes a lot of breaking through barriers and mindset shifts to even get out of depression. I mean, I had it as a kid. I had it for years, and so it's very hard to break that. It was because I got fibromyalgia, and I was diagnosed with that in 2012 that I actually became free of depression, because I realized that if I kept thinking depressive thoughts, kept saying negative stuff to myself, that my body would just be in such a bad way that I would end up on crutches or in a wheelchair, and that was a threat to my freedom I was not prepared to have or to take, because I need to socialize. I mean, at the moment, because I'm going through a lot of stressful stuff, my body is very much in a lot more pain at the moment, even though I'm going out tonight for New Year's Eve, which I'm really looking forward to, but I'm quite nervous about it at the same time. But my body is in so much pain, my back, my legs, and I'm hoping when I dance and get there, then the euphoria is going to take over and it's going to give me some relief from my pain, because that was what usually dancing does for me. But not until I get there, And so my body is in a lot more pain, because when I'm in a lot of stressful state, my body just completely reacts to it. It's like 10 times the pain. It's like horrible. And so even walking into the city yesterday, I had to sort some stuff out to do with my banks, which was quite difficult to do with moving. And my body was in so much pain when I got back, I just felt exhausted. And I'm much more exhausted than normal. And so this is very difficult to deal with, but I'm not in a bad headspace, as in I'm stressed, but alive, and I'm able to know that I can cope with what's coming up, even though I find it really difficult to at the moment. I'm back in my positive headspace, in the sense that I know I will be able to get through this. I will be able to deal with it. I will be okay. It's just a difficult time for me at the moment. So that's like really positive. It's not like not acknowledging that I'm stressed and find things difficult at the moment. It's acknowledging it, but in a way in which that I'm good. I mean, I had some obstacle to overcome yesterday financially, to do with disability. I'm on disability benefits, and I quit my full-time job last year. So this year is the first year that I haven't actually been working for an employer. I'm still a self-employed author. And it poses different challenges, because obviously I'm on benefits, and something happened which I can't talk about, but it did affect my finances. And so my benefits were affected, and I've got to move, and it was meaning that I wasn't going to have as much money. It was going to be really difficult to move. So I had to sort all that out yesterday, and like the day before I was doing stuff for that. The referencing is still going through. So I haven't actually been definitely given the place yet. I haven't got the new tenancy. So this is all like kind of stressful. So I started off the year like being here, which I thought I'd be staying at for years, because I thought if anything that happens to the landlord, as in he dies, then it would pass to his son, the house, but probably that wouldn't happen for another 30 years. As it happens, he's coming up to 60 and he now is selling the property. And so where I've lived here for 18 years, I know I'm too young for this, but where I've lived here, which is most of my life, I have loved it. And so it's really difficult to be able to leave something behind that you've been used to for so many years. It's longer than I've ever had a relationship, much longer. My longest relationship was 8.5 years. I did live here whilst I was having a relationship, the last relationship. But we lived separately. We lived together for a bit and it didn't work out, separated, and then I moved here to get away from him, actually. And unfortunately, I got back with him for 7 years. So like part of those 18 I was with him for. Yeah. So, but I'm glad that's over now. I have been sex free since 2011. So it was my 11th year anniversary of being sex free this year as well, which was something I was so proud of and happy. Loads of people who love sex are like, oh, I haven't had sex for months. I'm really deprived. I'm really upset. I'm really like longing. I feel really like, they might get frustrated or feel depressed about it or feel like something's lacking in their life. With me, I'm like, my God, I haven't had sex for like 11 years now, over 11 years. So I'm so happy about it. And I'm so glad that I'm not having sex. To me, it doesn't do anything for me. I always preferred the kissing. I liked touching back then as well, some touching. And I always preferred that to like the sex. And it was disgusting because this guy like sent me a dick pic this like about 48 hours ago it was, and it was disgusting. It was unwarranted. The guy isn't even on my friends list. I think he found me from the Indian dating group, which wasn't for asexuals. And I said to him, I'm looking for a guy in the UK, and I made it clear in my profile that I was asexual, that I didn't like sex. And then he randomly tried to call me. Then I said I don't take random calls from strangers, and he's like, why? And then he's basically, I tried to explain, I don't need to explain, but I said people need to book in, I just don't do it. And he then sent me a picture of his dick. Disgusting it was. He's like, oh, this is just for you. I'm like, why would I want that? It's sick, and it really put me off sex. I mean, I really don't like genitalia. If I had to choose between female and male, then obviously I'm attracted to guys, so I would choose to see male if I had to see one or the other. And I have seen male genitalia in the past, and I've had sex in the past. But for me, it's like in the past, it's like that's not who I am. That's not who I was, even in the sense that I did that, but I was asexual all along and didn't realize it. I mistook arousal for sexual attraction all those years. Um, So I started off the year like from the previous year, from December to January this year, having this therapy. And it took a while. It wasn't until the second to last session that the therapist really got me and understood me, because I do have a very unique personality and it can be mistaken for like something might be wrong. I do have things wrong in the sense I've got an anxiety condition, generalized anxiety disorder. I have fibromyalgia. These are disabilities, right? I think so, they're wrong in the sense that they're disabilities, but like I kind of like I've got used to having disabilities. I try to think of my disabilities in some ways as a superpower, and I get empowered by that. There was a post on Facebook from someone's page that one of my Facebook friends shared, and this woman was talking about disabilities and said, "Don't ever say they're a superpower, like it's some sort of insult to people with disabilities." Whereas I personally do believe my disabilities give me like superpowers, and for me that's very empowering. So I don't think of it as like disempowering. I think of it as amazing. Like my anxiety, for example, it alerts me to situations that are no good for me, but it does it a lot quicker than most other people probably would be able to do, because I've got kind of intuition and anxiety mixed together. So it's kind of like I know when something's wrong. Sometimes I don't always listen to myself. So this year as well, the big thing of 2022 for me personally is I've practiced believing in myself and trusting my own decisions. This year in 2022, I've made so many more decisions and faster than ever before. And I've had to practice that because as a child, I was basically taught that any decision I make will be the wrong decision, and they'll be there to pick up the pieces when things go wrong. It was always has the emphasis of something would go wrong, meaning you can't trust yourself. That's how it makes you be. And you are unique and beautiful as you are. Thank you, Liam. Lots of love to you. And so, it's like it's been a lot. I didn't really kind of notice it till last year that that it was like kind of like 2021. I didn't really come to fruition so much that, hey, like I have got a really big problem with not being able to make decisions, and it's really affecting my life badly. So I try to make more decisions now faster and try not to worry about making any mistakes or anything. Neely, lots of love, Neely Wilson. Thank you. Lots of love. And so, like, it's very important that if you do find it hard to make decisions, you do start practicing it. It can be really difficult because you've just got to be making decisions and thinking, okay, there isn't really a wrong decision because we learn things from every decision we make. So even if we do something, it turns out not to be good for us or not exactly as we wanted it, then we can learn the fact of the outcome of that. The outcome teaches us something from that. So, I went into therapy and it was really difficult, first of all, in the beginning of the year, end of last year, but it was necessary because my mental health had hit a whole time low at that point. And like I said, it took like basically till the seventh session. I was only supposed to have six sessions. I ended up about having eight. And it was only about the seventh that she understood me very well. But the thing with me is I usually do solve my own problems. Years ago, before the 2014, my last kind of therapy session before that was about mental health, whereas the 2014 was when I wanted a relationship without sex. And so before that, it was kind of like the therapist said, I don't need any more therapy in my life because I can answer my own questions. And so this particular therapist I ended therapy with this year in January, but something else was ongoing, which I can't talk about. And basically I needed more assistance, but she couldn't give me any more help because you have to have at least 3 months without any therapy. That's where the NHS works over here at the moment. So anyway, I kept in contact with her, and as she was sending me some advice by emails, I was emailing her about some issues. So she was still kind of helping me a bit over the months. And I'm going back to see her. I get an assessment with her in January again. But the thing is, whenever she emails me, I've kind of already said some of the stuff or worked it out on my own, what I need to do next. So in some ways I don't need her, but there are some, there's some trauma issues that I want to like kind of address, really, to just like kind of get them out and be done with them as much as possible. And on her last email, she said that, like, I hope you have a better new year that's not as turbulent for you as this year's been. So even she knows, as a therapist, that I've had a really turbulent year this year. And when an actual therapist says that, that it's kind of very validating. It's like, yeah, you've had a really difficult year because so much has happened. Like, and so it's, been a very difficult year in some ways, but there's also been a lot of blessings. So, um, going through to the new year, I got the children's course, which is how to basically write and publish books for children, which is mostly picture book illustrations. I decided to leave that because I wanted to focus on my asexual guide to sex. Now, where I'm at with that is I haven't been able to do any more of that since November the 8th. It's nearly, I've got all the stories from other people done a long time ago, like not this January, the previous January 2021. And so it's my bit of the book, which is like a huge percentage of the book. I left my bit of the book till last because I wanted to make sure I filled in and did more than what, more than what's already given. So what's in the stories, I didn't just want to repeat everything they've said. And obviously there are their individual stories. There isn't any repetition in the sense that everyone's unique. But obviously there can be like some commonalities, but I wanted to make sure that I covered aspects that weren't particularly covered by the other stories. For me, for example, a lot of it is safety aspect of relationships, and this includes emotional safety, physical security, and actually making sure you're having a healthy relationship in the first place, which I wasn't going to go into all that, because I was going to just stick to like more of the physicality, emotional, and getting on with it. But I decided it needed to be like a relationships book more as well as a book about sex, because I personally think you shouldn't be having sex with someone unless you've got a good relationship with them, because only then can it be a beautiful experience for the people who like doing that or want to do that, right? That's what I personally think. So even though I'm asexual, sex repulsed, the way I've written the book is kind of sex positive, as well as saying that I'm repulsed by it. So it's a very good book, and I will be getting it out next year, because when I move, that will be my main priority then, will be to focus on that book for the first 3 to 6 months. That will mean like finish it off completely, publishing it. It's going to take me a while because I've got to sort all the formatting out for it. And I've still got to finish the last little bit of the draft of mine, and then I've got to like edit mine more. I've been editing it as I go along, but I've still got quite a bit to do on that. And I need to ship shape the chapters up. And so, for the first 3 to 6 months of next year, 2023, that's what I'm going to be focused on when I've moved and settled in. So that was going to be like the end of January, beginning of February type time scale of when I'm going to start doing that and literally powering to it, because for the next few weeks I'm going to be packing and everything. So and then sorting everything out for the new place. So it's providing everything goes through okay. So it's going to be kind of like difficult to I can't focus on that and moving. I have to move as a priority, because I have to be out of here legally. So this is another legal thing that could happen and is going on, in the sense that my landlord didn't give me legal notice. Then the council stepped in. He's given me legal notice now. But if I don't move out, it could end up in a legal situation that's not good for me. So I've kind of got this other legal possible thing happening. Well, it's happening, but it's not got to the stage where it needs to go to court or anything, because I should be leaving before the date of when I've got to be out of here by. But it could develop into that if I don't find anywhere, and I could end up on the streets. So this is why it's kind of a difficult time for me at the moment. But I've got a deposit I've put on a flat, a holding deposit, and the referencing is going through. So this is kind of what's happening at the end of the year. So I started off the year with therapy for difficulties, and I'm ending the year with difficulties again, but different ones. But in the middle of the year, so I did some asexual meetups, and when I did one of them, like before my birthday in April, I did this asexual meetup, and I had this person turn up called Vanessa from Hong Kong, and I'd never met her before. And this was the first time, and I didn't really speak to her that much at the meetup because there was lots of us in a group. And what happened for my birthday in April, I was wanting to go away for the day, but my friend Andy, my best friend Andy, I've got two best friends, Andy and Sammy. Sammy's asexual. Andy doesn't class himself as asexual anymore. He used to. That's how I met him. But he's like since like discovered more about his identity. So that Andy and Sammy are my best friends, and you've seen Sammy on this channel before. And so Andy was going to actually go with me on my birthday somewhere, but he ended up being poorly and things happened, so we couldn't go. So Liam, I would love to meet you one day. Oh, Liam, you'll have to come over to the UK. Come over to the UK. It'll be nice to see you. It would be good to see you. I think it'd be good for you to go to an asexual meet. I think it would be very validating for you. I think you'd feel like really welcomed, and I think you'd feel, wow, I've been missing out all these years. Like, like, because I think you find that people really do like you, and even whether you want to be liked or not, people, it's nice to be liked. I think it's good for people to be liked, and I think it's very validating when you go to an asexual meetup. I feel like just being around other people that are like you kind of starts to dissipate the people who don't believe in asexuality, who are harsh or critical of asexuals. The more you're around real asexuals in real life, obviously watching this channel is still really good. I would love to meet up with other agender people. I'm not asexual, but agender. I know others. Oh, well, my best asexual friend, they class themselves as non-binary. So they don't class themselves as male or female. They just class themselves as non-binary, which is, I think, very similar to agender. So yeah. But they, at the moment, they can't even we at the moment, me and them financially are not in a position to be able to do meetups. I mean, I'm not in a position to do meetups right now anymore at the moment because I've got to move, and so I can't arrange anything. But yeah, that's for asexuals, my meetups I do. But I don't know. You should try on meetup.com. They do a lot of social groups there. I know they have asexual groups on there. I don't know. I don't know whereabouts you live because I live in the UK. Um, but yeah, there are quite a lot of people in the asexual community that identify as non-binary and stuff like that. Liam, I don't care about being liked. Okay, that's fine. But I just think, like, it's good that you don't care about being liked in the sense that, you shouldn't live your life by whether people like you or not. You should just be you. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not here to be liked by everyone. Ah, you're in New York. Yeah, I would still look up meetup.com because that's like a world thing and you can find lots of different groups there. I don't know if there is any non-binary agender groups. I don't know if I don't know, like, if agender, I think, does that come under non-binary? I think it does, but correct me if I'm wrong. But you try on meetup.com, and obviously, like, Facebook might have some agender groups online. I don't know if they meet up. Thanks for the recommendation either way. You're welcome. Um, and so yeah, so I had this asexual meetup before my birthday in April, and I was in a group of people, and I met a lovely person called Vanessa, and it was the first time we'd ever met. And anyway, like I said, I couldn't see my best friend Andy for their birthday because they were poorly, and things happened. I also broke my ankle again this year, so it was really weird because I had a broken ankle last year, and I broke my ankle again this year. And twice I've managed to get myself better to the point where I can dance high octane dancing. I'm telling you, this is one of the most bestest things that I was able to overcome this year. Like, I broke my ankle last year dancing at the secluded area of the quayside because my mental health wasn't great. And I ended up tripping on some twigs and breaking it and having to walk back home on it by myself through fields. And then this year I broke it at the Imperial car park. Well, actually, the Imperial is where we usually go for asexual meetups. But I was with my friend Andy at the time, and I ended up trying to take a shortcut down past a car and then realized it was too dark to see that way. And so I went back to save myself from an accident, and I actually ended up falling down this concrete slope and couldn't get back up. And I was misdiagnosed at the hospital. I had to have security guards getting me up and putting me in a taxi because the ambulance was going to be like 7 hours or more. The UK is a nightmare with stuff like that. But obviously, I wasn't going to die, but it was really swollen up. And I could tell it was broken again. I was misdiagnosed at the hospital. So that was quite traumatic because they took away the wheelchair I was in. They wouldn't give me crutches or a boot. And I had to hop down the aisle, just holding onto the wall, which is a smooth surface, basically, with my right leg, which my right leg was very weak at that time. And even though, and I knew it'd been damaged, and my left ankle was broken again in the same place, and she denied it. And then 2 days later, I got a phone call saying, yes, they got it wrong. I have got a fractured ankle, and it's a bigger fracture than the fracture before. And luckily, I had my boot still, my old boot, and crutches from before that I used because I couldn't even get up the stairs because I live up the stairs, and I couldn't even get up the stairs without putting the boot on. The crutches weren't even enough. So, but where I'm moving to, if I get the place. It's really high up, so I hope I don't ever do that again. But yes, I don't think my ankle was fully healed from the first time, to be honest with you, because I was still getting problems in January with my ankle caving in. But I managed to, when this second time round, after I'd fractured it again, but a bigger fracture, I actually kept the boot on for longer than my physio wanted me to. And that was good for me because it actually made it a lot stronger. So my ankle now, my left ankle, I feel is a lot strong, really stronger. And actually, I've had problems with my right ankle, which is supposed to be my good ankle. But my left ankle is really, really strong again. And it before it took me like over 3 months to get better. And then the second time round, it took me about 6 to 8 weeks, I think it was. The other one was over 3 months, actually. It was April. The time before was like 3 days before my birthday, I think it was April, May, June, July, August, September. So it was 6 months basically. And then I think this year was more like, did I say 6 weeks? It was cured by May the 31st, basically. That's when I went out again. I think I got it broken in March. So it's probably like a couple of months, whereas the previous time took 6 months. So that was a big after, or was it February I did it in? Anyway, it's like 3 months. So basically half of what it was before. And I was really proud of that. And I got it so much better and stronger. And it takes a lot of courage to do that because you literally have to do exercise that flaming hurt. I mean, they really, really do. So one of my greatest achievements is being able to get my ankle better. But I organized my asexual meetups in my city of Exeter. People come from all over. And I went to the asexual meetups, my own meetups with crutches and a boot on, both like last year and this year, when I had it broken. Anyway, this person, Vanessa, we didn't really know each other, and he couldn't see me for my birthday after all. And so I asked Vanessa when didn't even know her, like we didn't even really know each other, but I met her at the meetup. And to my wonderful, happy surprise, she said yes. And so we went to Plymouth Aquarium together and had an amazing time and just gotten so well straight away. And she bought me a gift, which is really, really nice. I don't know if you can see it actually. It's in my cuddly toys. See all my cuddly toys up there. Well, somewhere in the midst of all those things up there, there's you can't really see it, but there's an ice cream cuddly toy. And it's got pink. It's just around here, pink. And so yeah, she got me that for my birthday. So that was really, really sweet and cute of her to do that. And so we just get on so well. Like we became really good friends pretty much straight away. And now she's one of my closest friends. And so we have met up, like gone clubbing together. We've been to the aquarium again together, met up for Nando's food, been around Christmas market together, got each other gifts for Christmas. I just really get on so well with her. And so I made such a lovely friend this year. Like it takes a long time for me to really trust people usually and to make close friends. Like I've got obviously friends online, but to make close friends is really usually difficult or takes a long time for me. But my best friend Sammy, they came into my asexualized dating group. That's how I met them. We're not suitable for a relationship, but that's how I actually met them through my group. And then they came to meet up, and within like 3 days of spending time together, we were best friends for life. And that's always been the case since. And with Andy, my best friend, we originally met through asexuality.com website because he thought he was asexual at that time, because he is asexually attracted to women but sexually attracted to guys, he's found out. So it's kind of hard for him. But overall, obviously, because he has sexual attraction or likes doing sexual stuff, then he doesn't class himself as asexual anymore. And so that's how come that, he doesn't identify as asexual anymore. But he still gets attracted to women but doesn't want to have sex with them. So it's kind of like difficult. But at the end of the day, the definition of being a sexual person, where it's heterosexual, homosexual, is that you experience sexual attraction. You want to do sexual stuff and stuff like that. So, even if you have asexual feelings for one gender and sexual feelings for another, overall, you would be sexual because you have sexual attraction for someone. You know what I mean? And people find, I think, that very difficult to understand sometimes, or get confused about that. They'll say I'm asexual and I'm sexual. Like for example, they might say they're heterosexual and asexual. But if you're sexually attracted to anyone, you're by that definition not asexual. Obviously you could be a grey asexual, so you experience sexual attraction infrequently under limited, rare, specific circumstances, but not enough to want to act on it. But in terms of pure asexuality, it means you don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. And so anyway, I met Vanessa and we had a great time. She's one of my closest friends now. Sadly, in 2023, she is going to be moving back to Hong Kong. So I'm going to have kind of like be a bit grieving over that loss. We'll still be really good friends. But obviously, you know, when there's distance between you, it can be a lot more harder. Um, so anyway, we're gonna have like some great times before she goes back to her country, which will probably around June, I'm guessing. So yeah, it'll be good to see her graduate. It'll be good to spend some time with her in the coming months before that happens. And yeah, that was really, really good. And another person I met online in August, they came through via my Asexualise page, one of my Facebook business pages for asexuality, basically. And they came because they wanted to go in one of my dating groups because they're a fan of this channel. Hello, Roger. And they came through. We got speaking on my page, and then they went into my Asexualise no sex dating group. But they are incredible. Like, we hit it off straight away as well. I got on well with them from the beginning. Like, we just started chatting in chat on my page for, I think, few days or a week. And then by the time they were in my group, we become really good friends and we're quite close friends now. We have video calls. He lives in Spain, so he is foreign. He's 27, really good looking, gorgeous personality, but he's not interested in me romantically. He's not attracted to me. He's demi-romantic. He's on the aromantic spectrum, and Vanessa's on the aromantic spectrum as well. So they're not really so interested in relationships, you know, and it would take them a lot to feel romantic attraction for anyone. So that, you know, but they're both beautiful people. I class them as my both close friends, and then my best friends are still Sammy and Andy. So yeah, I really, really do appreciate that these two people, Vanessa and Roger, have come into my life and I get on so well with them and I trust them. And they're both really good people, very trustworthy people. Now, Roger, although he's not suitable for a relationship with me, it's still really nice to have a guy in my life who's a very, very nice character, very, very strong, very, very trustworthy with women, very trustworthy person, open, honest, because he's kind of like an example of what a good guy is. Because obviously I've been on dating sites, which I'm going to come on to in a minute when I'm doing this 2022 in review. And being on dating sites has been really hugely disappointing with the fact that most of the guys I've been messaging on there seem to be low quality guys who are either don't know what they want or they're just looking to hook up, and they're not looking for anything serious, you know, and some of it's game playing and, you know, they're just not in a position to have a healthy, committed relationship, a lot of them. And it's very difficult to find healthy guys in those dating sites and dating apps. But the fact that I've got Roger as a friend now, he's a prime example of what a healthy guy looks like. So although we're not suitable for a relationship, I kind of have this really healthy guy in my life who I can see is like a role model for the type of guy I would like in terms of personality, you know, and in terms of really good qualities and viewpoints. And, you know, like we don't necessarily agree on everything, you know, that's not what it's about, but he's a very healthy guy, you know, very open, very honest from the beginning, totally trustworthy guy, trustworthy with women, really, really lovely person. So it's really good for me to have a friendship relationship with Roger because it allows me to see what a good guy would look like, you know, in a, you know, in terms of qualities that I would like in a guy in a relationship. So although Roger isn't suitable for me for a relationship, the qualities that he has, I can look for in a guy now because I can see the difference between a really unhealthy, bad guy to be in a relationship with and a good guy. So, for example, a bad, unhealthy guy for me personally in a relationship and until they sort their life out and themselves out, sort get their shit together, basically, they're not going to be good for other people. Unless they get their shit together for other people, then, you know, like, for example, a bad guy will be secretive, closed off emotionally. This is a bad guy for me to be in a relationship with. I'm not saying these people are completely bad people. I'm just saying they're not good to be in a relationship with. You know, if they work on themselves and you know, sort of get their shit together, they could be much better people, right? So I'm not saying these people are completely bad all the way through. I'm just saying this is the type of guy that you don't want to be in a relationship with when they're in this way. So a bad guy in terms of relationship, you know, someone who's not going to be healthy is someone who's closed off, secretive, not open, doesn't share their feelings, right? This is someone who's not good to be in a relationship with. Now, I have a friend, I'm not going to say who it is, um, and they have some of these difficulties, and they admit they're no good to be in a relationship with, even though they're an amazing person. So I have to stipulate that I'm not saying that people have got all these traits, that people who are secretive and people who are like shut down emotionally. I'm not saying they're not good people. They can never be good people. I'm saying they're not good to be in a relationship with, because a relationship requires vulnerability. It requires you to open up, both you and the other person. It requires you to share your thoughts, feelings, emotions very openly. You cannot have a healthy relationship if you're closed off emotionally, if you're avoiding dealing with problems and issues. You're just going to have a rocky relationship. It's going to be no good for you or the other person. It's not stable, right? So while these people may not be bad people, they may be, they may have friends, they may be good people to be around in other ways. I'm saying that they're not good to be in a relationship with. You need to understand the difference, you know, and you need to try to keep your heart safe and not get mixed up with these types of people. They need to sort their shit out. It's not for you to sort their shit out for them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you aren't responsible for them. They're responsible for their life. They're responsible for the way they treat you and other people. And it's up to them to get help to sort their life out. I get help to sort me and my life out. They need to get help to sort them and their life out, right? And then you enable helping each other when you're in a good space as much as possible to know that you're developing and growing yourself, right? To be in a relationship is one of the hardest things ever, which is why people shy away from it. It requires huge commitment, huge dedication, work, right? You don't get anywhere in life unless you work for it, right? Whether that's finances, whether that's a spiritual journey, whether that's like exercise, fitness, whether that's making friends. You don't get anywhere in life unless you put time, energy, and effort into it. Why should anyone do that for you if you're not prepared to do it for them? It takes work, right? Everything's work. So if you don't like work and you just want to sit there and lie there and not have any work, that's fine. But if you're looking for a relationship, you need to work on yourself to improve yourself, to be a better version of yourself, to get a relationship. Now, many asexuals might not want a relationship. You're aromantic, don't experience romantic attraction. You might not want a relationship, although some aromantics do. So that's fine. But you still should be working on your issues for yourself, right? Because bottling things up and avoiding situations, avoiding difficult conversations with yourself even, and not admitting who you are and the issues you've got is not going to help you, right? If you want to change your life, you have to admit to yourself the difficulties you're experiencing. And you have to cut yourself some slack and say, hey, these difficult situations happen in my life. They've made me who I am today. Maybe they've made you stronger. Maybe they've crushed your soul, right? And you need to be able to try and deal with these step by step so that you eliminate or lower the impact they've had on you, right? Because in order to have a healthy, caring relationship, you need to be the opposite of closed off. So if you're closed off emotionally, if you're avoiding situations, if you can't communicate effectively or properly, if you can't hold ongoing conversations, if you can't treat a person that you're going to be in a relationship with or in a relationship with like your best friend, and treat them with respect, love, care, kindness, honesty, compassion, sensitivity, and you just want to be closed off, avoidant, keep yourself to yourself, and not express your emotions, not express your feelings, play mind games, not respond to messages, not respond to texts, be unreliable, be up and down emotionally, not if you're expressing all these negative behaviors, these destructive behaviors, you need to sort them out going into 2023 before you get into a relationship or even be dating. You shouldn't even be doing dating if you haven't sorted these things out as much as possible. No one's perfect. You're not going to have everything. All the trauma is not going to go away magically. You're still going to have repercussions from that. But the point is, you should get to a place where you're open, honest about it, and you're dealing with your stuff, and you're not penalizing for someone you might be in a relationship with or potentially get into a relationship with because you haven't sorted your shit out yet, right? You need to sort your own life out and yourself out, right? As much as possible. You need to be willing to work on yourself because a relationship takes work. It means that you have to discuss with each other what's good for you and what's not good for you in the relationship. Like, you have to develop effective communication, and you have to develop like ways of interacting with each other that's healthy. So, for example, if some of my friends are really introverted, they need time on their own. I need to know that they're not speaking to me because of something I've done wrong and I've upset them, but it's because they need time to themselves. So they will just say, look, they know over time of us discussing this, because you have to have open discussions about these things, that, they just say, look, I'm going off for a few hours, or I'm going off for the night, I'm watching a movie, I need to chill out, I'll be offline. So basically, I can't talk to them, which is fine, and I might be going off doing something, like I'm going out tonight, right? So when I'm going out tonight, I'll be off having a nice time. I won't be like there available to message and stuff like this. So it's a very, very kind of flowing dynamic. Some of my other friends, they don't like being messaged as much. So, and one of my friends, they don't want a committed relationship. They don't want to be messaging regularly. They don't want to be in regular contact with someone. Right? Everyone's different, right? And then for one of my friends, I was feeling romantic attraction for them because they were messaging me so much, like I would expect a boyfriend to message me. So I had to chat to them about that. And then they message me now a frequency that's really good and healthy for me. And I feel for them more because it's healthy for me more. And it just flows better. And I always know that they're reliable and will get back to me. They might not get back to me straight away, but then I kind of said to them that it was too much messaging before, because it felt like he was my boyfriend, and I don't want that because he didn't want that. And so it's too much. But now it's really wonderful. The messaging, like, consistency and flow is really good. Sometimes I might hear from them a couple of times. Well, maybe like I usually hear from them several times a week, which is really nice. Sometimes I might hear from them occasionally a couple of times a day, which is really nice as well. It's just that whatever they're doing now is fine. So it's all flowing well. It's all really good. But it requires a lot of open, honest communication. Like, some people need more space in a relationship than others. Some people need to go out more than others. This all takes time and to talk about it. Some people need more time with their family than others, right? You have to discuss all these things. But someone who's open, honest, and communicate effectively their wants, their needs, their likes, and everything, which can take time to develop that, especially if you had scary scenarios as a child where you were told off if you expressed your feelings. But it's necessary if you want to have a serious, committed, loving, caring relationship. Right? And you might think, well, what's the point of having a serious, loving, caring, committed relationship? I'd just rather play the field and go off and do it. You can, but eventually you might find that you're very empty doing that, just hooking up with people if you're not asexual. Or maybe you're an asexual person who doesn't who gets scared of commitment yourself, and so therefore, even though you might not be hooking up for sex, you might be hooking up for emotional support and stability. Then you might decide you might be avoidantly attached from childhood, have an avoidant attachment style, and then go off and not speak to someone for days. This type of weird, strange up and down behavior, right? And so it doesn't really matter what sexuality you are in terms of like where you're coming from with this, right? So where I'm going with this is, I've obviously went on Facebook dating, and I was pleased that I did have 2 in-person dates. Like, it was the first time I'd had in-person dates off Facebook dating. And I do in general like Facebook dating as a dating app to use in general, because I find it really easy to communicate on Facebook. I personally love Facebook. I like going on Facebook Messenger all the time anyway with my friends. I find it very easy to have back and flowing conversations, and it feels really good to me. This is not the case of all my friends feel like this at all. Some of them don't like Facebook, right? But I do. And so Facebook dating is good for me because I'm already on there. I run 6 asexual groups on Facebook, and I've got multiple pages on there, and I'm kind of on there quite a bit usually. Not as much lately because I've got a lot of stuff going on, but in general, I'm on there more. And so I tried Facebook dating, and I did meet up with 2 people, right? And actually, when I met up with them, the experiences were good, but afterwards it wasn't good. And this is because that one of them was just lying about a lot of their background, and their personal story of how they got to where they are in their life today. And the other one afterwards just wanted to hook up afterwards, and didn't want a serious relationship. So the first person I met up with, they were older than I'd usually go for, and I did have a really nice time with them. We met up in my favorite restaurant in London, and at that time I did have a really nice time with them. Although they were older, I still liked being physically close to them. I was still very attracted to them physically, as in aesthetically and sensually. I don't usually get that sensually attracted to someone. So from my asexual point of view, having the experience of feeling highly sensually attracted. So for me, that was like stroking his arm, for example, or just holding his arm. That was a very, very beautiful, kind of surreal, weird feeling for me. Like, it was beautiful, but it was also kind of like a bit like, oh, I feel arousal just by touching his arm. This is weird for me. I don't usually experience that. It was a unique experience. So I do like the fact that I have unique experiences in life. I do like the fact of having experiences, because it means we're living our life and we're learning all the time. So I didn't know that that was possible with me, to have that feeling, especially when I don't know the guy. And so that was kind of really weird for me. And I don't usually get that. And so I had to kind of stop holding his arm or stroking his arm, because it was making me feel aroused. And I'm like, I don't usually get that with stroking arms. It's weird. But that was a nice experience, in the sense I learned something about myself. I learned something that was possible about myself that I didn't know. And actually, when I was sat with him and I was holding his hand and stuff, it was really nice. I wouldn't let him kiss me on the lips, like, though, only on the cheek. But the one thing that wasn't so good about that date was, like, I had a broken ankle and he was downstairs, down the escalator, and I had to go all the way down the escalator to meet him. Whereas it would have been far better if he'd met me off the actual train. That would have been, especially considering I had a broken ankle, it would have been more thoughtful and considerate. But anyway, the actual date itself went well, but afterwards it wasn't good, because he was interested in a relationship with me, but I said I don't want to live with someone. That was even before we met up. And there was a point where I thought he was going to cancel as well. So it did take a while to get the date kind of organized, finalized, and know it was going ahead. So that was kind of difficult. And obviously, as an asexual person, meeting someone off Facebook dating is quite hard, because I'm sex repulsed and I have to be able to trust the guy I'm meeting up with enough to not do sexual stuff with me, when I specifically made it clear that I don't want to do that. So this guy, I think, was from Pakistan, or a Middle Eastern country. And he changed. The problem was, afterwards he changed his story, and what he told me wasn't actually the truth. He told me quite a few lies. Not everything was lies, but he had told me quite a few lies. And obviously you cannot have a relationship with anyone based on lies, or if someone's lied to you. For me, any lies and that's it. I can't trust the person ever again. And so they need to go from my life. And it's really sad that he did that. It's really sad. But anyway, it's in my best interest that I found out that sooner rather than later. And then I did give him a second chance, and then he didn't even show up, and said that he was basically trying to find somewhere to live. But at the end of the day, he didn't need to do it that day. He could have met up with me. And then there was a kind of like manipulation, like, oh, if I tell you the truth of my story, will you like be my girlfriend? That's not how it works. That's manipulation, right? He was lucky I even speaking to him again, and was even prepared to meet him again. And unfortunately, he didn't value my worth enough to be able to see that was an amazing opportunity, and he blew it. So that's fine. I wish him well. I hope he does learn from that situation, and I hope he finds a really nice person near where he lives for him, because he lives like in the London area, and he didn't really want to travel anyway. A guy who really likes me and is into me, he will travel to meet up with me. I'm sure about that. There's plenty of guys that actually own cars, or that don't mind traveling for the woman that they love and adore. And they just want to be by their side and meet up with them and have a great time. And so obviously, clearly, he's not the right guy for me, but I do wish him to be happy. He lost a sweetheart. Oh, thank you, Liam. Yes, he did. Actually, I totally agree with you on that. Um, I do wish him well. I hope he settles. He's got some stuff like he needs to deal with in his life. And maybe he does need some therapy himself to deal with past traumatic stuff. And also, his current situation isn't a good situation for him to be in, which I'm not going to discuss, because it's his private business. But, I think when he's in a better place, maybe mentally and financially, and got more stability, then maybe he will be better for another person, and maybe he won't need to tell lies, and maybe he can just open up to a person and hopefully have someone nearer him. He said he could live without sex. I'm not sure if he could or not, but he seemed to be quite creative, which I liked, and artistic, which I liked about him. But he was quite secretive, with, for example, the people in his house. I didn't really, like, it's like he didn't really want to tell them about me, and he was saying stuff like, oh, I love you and stuff like that. And it's like, if you really like someone, why would you hide them? And so he was saying, but they're not really my friends. But it's really, well, you know, if you're in a relationship or you love someone, and even if you're not in a relationship, you kind of shout it from the rooftops, really, don't you, that you love a person, especially if they're a really nice person. You don't really think about people not liking it because you don't really care. But anyway, so you know, so the date itself, when it happened, was nice, but the bit before, when there was confusion over where it was actually going to happen, and afterwards, like when I gave him a second chance, he didn't show up, and it was just like he messaged me by phone, different number, and there was going to meet up, and so I gave him about another 2 chances, really. So he has like 3 chances. That's it, you know. And so, you know, I could never trust him again now, which is a shame, because I think he could be a good guy potentially. I just think maybe it needs to be with someone else, not me, because I think he needs to get rid of all his he needs to sort his life out, and then when he's sorted his life out, maybe he can start afresh and start with someone else where he's never lying to them and he's completely open and honest, and then he could have a good life with them. I think maybe that's possible for him, but it's just not going to be with me, because I don't know what to believe anymore. But if he started with a fresh person and it was someone nearer him and he sorted his life out, I think it would be better for him. And then the other person, it was a dream come true. I had a actual date with an Indian guy who's 21 years old, who, that is my ideal age, actually, and we did meet up. But again, it was via Facebook dating. Now, the thing is, I made it clear on there, and even in a video call before we met up in person, which I would always recommend doing before meeting up in person, is that I was looking for a serious committed relationship. I didn't just want to meet up. That was a whole basis for meeting up, was based on the fact that that's what I was interested in. I didn't just want to meet up for like kissing or anything like that. I wanted to meet up with the fact of, are we going to be suitable for that? Right? I made that really clear to him and in my profile. And so anyway, he did come to my city for the date, which I was really pleased about, that he paid the money, and he was really strong guy in that way, and came and did that. But he did, like, I did end up paying from the taxi from the train station. He was like half an hour late to like going to Nando's together, which I didn't think was right, really, because his train was late. And I was the one who had to pay for the taxi to go to the Nando's. And I had a broken ankle as well, which didn't really help. But I managed to get to the train station on crutches and a boot. Um but anyway, he thought it was fairer because he paid for all the transport to come all the way down there. But I mean, I didn't ask him to come and see me. He was the one who offered to come to see me. I personally think that if someone's late, they kind of should be paying for the transport to get to the venue, because they're the ones who were late in the first place, if you know what I mean. So it wasn't my responsibility in a sense. But I offered to split the money for the taxi, but he didn't want to do that. He just wanted me to pay for it, which I thought would have been fairer. But anyway, I was a bit disappointed in that, because I think most guys would just like, because most guys traditionally, they do pay for women's stuff. Whereas I wasn't asking him to pay for my Nando's meal or anything like that. I was quite happy to pay for that myself. You know, I'm very much, I'll pay for my own stuff usually. But I thought, you know, most guys would just say, you know, they wouldn't expect the woman to pay for a taxi to actually take them to the venue when they were late, you know? So that was disappointing. But anyway, the actual date itself was good. We did end up kissing in public, which I love kissing in public, and he did kiss a lot for about an hour, and I really enjoyed that. And it was a dream come true, but it was sad that that's where it had to end, if you know what I mean. So it was like really difficult for me. Like even now, I do get a bit upset because it didn't work out. Yeah, I guess I'm not over that guy, right? Which is difficult for me to say on the live stream. But I want to get over him because he's no good for me. But you know, like when we're kissing, like I could hear his heart beating really, really, really fast. And so I'm getting really emotional over this now. I haven't been emotional the whole time, and I am over this. And it's because like gosh, I didn't expect to get so emotional over this. So clearly I'm not still over this guy yet. I will be. And so, you know, anyway, sorry. I'm apologizing for being emotional, but never mind. Never apologize for being emotional in the sense that it's good to be emotional. But anyway, I'm sorry I'm being upset over some guy who isn't worth it. But anyway, I think it's because what happened was, is like recently I remember this guy's heartbeat, and it was beating so fast, and that's kind of a really precious and special moment that you don't really forget, you know, when you have a first kiss with someone and you're really aesthetically attracted to them, and you know, you put your ears to their heart and it's beating so fast. That's like kind of a really beautiful, special, unique moment. And when you have that moment, it's kind of like electric, and it's kind of like, a very beautiful, special moment. Right, and I did enjoy the kissing, but, I could tell afterwards he's really self-conscious. He didn't really wanna hold my hand in public. There was some other girl that came past, which I think was Indian. She looked at him because I was holding his hand at the time, and he wanted to go to the train station by himself and not me not see him off. So it's kind of, like, obvious that he wasn't really comfortable in the end with holding my hand in public and, like, being with me in public, even though he grabbed me to kiss me kiss me again in front of loads of people before he went to the train station. So, like, when I say grab me, he didn't grab me, he, like, moved me around. He didn't grab me, that's the wrong word, but he, like, quickly got hold of me to kiss me again in front of loads of people when we were walking, after we'd done the kissing for an hour. But yeah, so after that, it all went downhill because after that, when obviously I didn't see him off. I mean, he was running late, I guess. So it's in some ways it's better he went on his own, but I still think it would have been nice if he wanted me to see him off. But anyway, that was the end of that because after that he just wanted to hook up for kissing again until we met other people. And, he knew that I didn't like sex, and he said he was okay with that, but I don't know that he would have been. He's a highly sexual guy, I think, and he just wanted to end up seeing me again to come around and to my flat and kiss me. There's absolutely no way that I would let a guy do that, like, clearly he just wants to do sexual stuff in private with me, and I'm not up for doing sexual stuff. And he, in the end, said he doesn't like kissing in public. I'm thinking, well, you were kissing me for an hour in public and you weren't complaining at the time. And then you even turn around and kiss me in front of people. But he's too self-conscious, he's 21 years old. And instead of like being a guy who's like doesn't care what people think and is proud to have a beautiful woman on his arm, he's kind of like worried about what people think and quite not very like shut off emotionally and and clearly I'm not the right girl for him. He's not the right guy for me because he's just, he can't communicate effectively with me. And in the end, I end up lying and stuff. He came on my channel and tried to get back to talk to me, but he's not really interested in me because it's like just saying very basic stuff. And clearly he wants completely different things to me. He doesn't want a serious committed relationship, which is fine, but don't pursue me if you don't want that because that's what I do want. So I'm sure maybe he'll change his mind in several years' time and want a serious committed relationship, maybe, unless he is an avoidant person who just avoids relationships and and so therefore he's gonna have issues going forward. But I hope he finds a good girl for him. I hope he becomes a better guy for the next girl. I hope that he gets his dreams come true, and I hope he finds a really nice girl for him. On the upside, like, there was an asexual guy that I dated online started dating online last year in 2021, and it took me quite some time to get over him. He stalked me on this channel for a while. He was from Tunisia, you might remember him. And then recently I discovered, as far as I know, he's got a girlfriend now, but I'm really happy for him. I haven't told him this personally because I don't have any contact with him anymore, but I'm actually really happy he's got a girlfriend because I'm over him. So that to me is really good. So I'm over the Tunisian guy now, which I'm really happy. I'm happy for him that he's found someone. I want him to be happy, even though he didn't treat me very well. I hope that he's learned from the mistakes he made with me going forward so he can treat her really well and have a beautiful relationship with her and be together forever and loving and caring towards each other, because I want every person that I touch and come into contact with to just want to better themselves and better their lives, and including the guys on Facebook dating. I hope that they treat another girl better than they treat me, and that they are very honest, open, sincere, kind, caring guys. I want them to be that in the future. I want them to have healthy relationships. I want them to find true love. I want them to be happy. I just want people to be happy in healthy ways. I want people to improve themselves and their life, and I want them to have love, true love. I want everyone to have the love that they want and deserve. I want people to be happy. Everyone has difficulties. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. No one is perfect. Everyone has problems and issues. Some people work on them, other people don't. Like, But if you want to have a healthy, happy relationship, which why wouldn't you? Because why would you want a rocky relationship all your time, all your life, and to be avoidant? It's not healthy. You know, you need to work on yourself and realize you've got issues and address them, because you know life is so short and we need to be living it in a good, healthy way. And it takes time. If we've had lots of childhood trauma, for example, and bullying and stuff going on, can really affect us, and it can make us shut down, and it can make us avoid situations and things in life. Right. And we just need like help to overcome these scenarios and situations, and to be able to better deal with our feelings so that we can become better people to be in a relationship with, or better people for ourselves. And so I am really glad I had both of the experiences at the time on Facebook dating, that I met these two guys. And I hope I've touched their life and heart in a way in which moves them to better themselves and better their lives and become a better person. I'm not sure that they will do that, because a lot of people watch my channel, they don't necessarily take my advice. They just like looking at me and listening to me, which, you know, it's great, but I need you to take action to better your life. I want people to better themselves. I want people to be happy. You know, I really value people being happy. Um, there was an Indian guy, asexual guy, like uh last year, 2021 as well. I would say I'm not 100% over him yet. So I always analyze who I'm over. So the Tunisian guy I'm over. I'm really happy for him. He's got a girlfriend. The previous guy to that, he's Indian, who I met through an asexual group. I wouldn't say I'm 100% over him. And the two guys this year, probably the Pakistani guy, I'm not bothered whether I don't, you know, whether I speak to him ever again or not. I just want him to be happy. I'm kind of like not so bothered about him. So I don't really think there's much to get over. I just think I need to let him go on his way, because I think, you know, that I don't really have that strong feelings for him, in the sense I don't really miss him. Like, I am aware he's there, but I, you know, it's like it's fine. But the other guy, the 21-year-old Indian guy, I'm still clearly got to get over him fully. I realize he's no good for me, but I've still got to get over him fully, you know. That's taking longer. That's because he started communicating with me again, you know, through various, tried to get on my business pages, tried to set up another account for this channel, tried to email me. And you know, he it was, although he left my life back in May, he kept coming back. And it takes me usually 8 months to get over someone fully, on average. um and so, you know, and so I need kind of like 8 months away from him completely, and I think that will be a lot better for me then. Um, you know, and I hopefully he'll find someone else, and then, you know, like the Tunisian guy's found someone else now, so he doesn't harass me or come near me anymore, which is great. You know, and if all these people get their own girlfriends, then it'll be fine, won't it? Because they'll just have people that for them, and they don't need to worry about me. But I hope that I will still find my Indian asexual soulmate in the future. I would like that for me. I would like a healthy guy. So I mentioned my friend Roger, who I met in August, who I became really close friends with. He's not suitable for a relationship with me because he's not attracted to me. He's demi-romantic as well. Lives in Spain. Really nice, beautiful looking guy. A very, very beautiful personality traits. But I know what to look for in a really good, healthy guy now, because he is an example of a healthy, good guy. And so in 2023, I'll be focusing much more on the traits I want than the aesthetics so much. But I still get really attracted to Indian guys the most. Um, so going like kind of fast forwarding more towards, you know, like the latter part of this year, like in October, it's my best asexual friend Sammy's 40th birthday. They really look like they're 20 something. They don't look like they're in the 40s at all. Liam, you are an amazing, lovable person, Sandra. Oh, thank you so much, Liam. I appreciate you very much. Um, and so my best friend Sammy was 40 years old on the 28th of October. But they really look more like they're 25 or 27 at max. You know, they don't look like 40 at all. They really look young. And they, you know, I would say they are really young. You know, I don't think birth certificate age has any bearing really on a person's actual livable age, unless they feel and think like their birth certificate age. You know, a birth certificate age is a piece of paper you're born with, right? You can't change that legally, unfortunately, unless it's extreme circumstances where your like life is endangered by someone. That's the only way you can legally change it, right? You can pretty much change everything else legally, but not that. And so, you know, like birth certificate age is the age on your birth certificate, but you don't have to live that life. You don't have to live up to the stereotypes of that life. You don't have to look like that or be like that. You can still do young stuff, wear young clothes, do young things, and so like we are different ages, me and Sammy, but I went to London and met them for their birthday. We went to War of the Worlds experience, so I've been there twice this year. The first time Sammy was sick, so couldn't go, so I ended up going on my own, and there was a really nice girl and guy together, lovely couple, and I got on so well with them. And so yeah, it was really nice to spend time with them. She's actually a singer, I found out, and he was over in this country for abroad to spend some time with her. He might move in with her, and I really got on so well with them. So I had the War of the Worlds experience, and then I had the other War of the Worlds experience for Sammy's birthday, so I had to do all over again. It's quite scary in parts as well. So in one part you're nearly in pitch black apart from the fire exit bit, and this like alien comes out of the woman's stomach. It's acting, but it's like quite dramatic. So yeah, it's quite scary, some of it, because you're in like a storyline of War of the Worlds. There's loads of 3D virtual reality stuff, but I managed to get free tickets for my friend and me, which took some getting because I actually hurt myself the first time. I fell backwards because there was a real claw. I thought it was virtual reality, and that this claw was coming through the window, like just in virtual reality. I didn't realize it was a real mechanical claw, and it literally was grabbing hold of me. I couldn't get away from it, and I fell backwards out the saloon doors and literally landed on my back with my headgear like to the side. And I had a massive bruise on my leg. Luckily, I didn't break my ankle again. And so that was kind of hard. That was the first time I went. I think it was July, and then I went with Sammy in October for their birthday. But the second time was much better because I knew what to expect, and I didn't really get attacked by the claw. I think it came at me once, and that was it, and it wasn't that rigorous. But the first time I was trying to smack it away, and I just couldn't get away from it, no matter how I went up or down. It was awful. And they didn't tell you about that on the website, even though I looked afterwards to double check. They told you about a lot of stuff, but they didn't tell you it's a real robotic claw that's going to come at you. I just thought it was virtual reality, but it's very good special effects. It is worth going to if you like that type of thing. We have to sign a waiver to say if you die, they're not responsible for it. So yeah, it's that type of experience, but it's actors and actresses telling the story. It's really good, so like simulators and kind of like simulating stuff, because you go in this hot air balloon at the end, which is like a hot air balloon simulator type thing with headgear on. So it's very interesting. And I did a massive scream at the end when I had my photograph taken with Sammy. I was getting into character. I'm really good at screaming. I was in Series 1, Episode 13 of Torchwood. I don't know if you knew that. I was paid acting work years ago, and I was running away from a monster in Cardiff city centre screaming. It was filmed in front of a live studio audience. I got paid money for that. Sadly, the acting company I did that through shut down after that. So that was my one and only paid acting work. But I had a wait of a time. I'm still in the actual episode. I'm like running away from a monster. I'm wearing a white PVC jacket. I was actually on the trailer as well. So I was so proud of that moment. So I'm always there. End of Days, it's called the episode. Look out for the girl with the white PVC jacket running and screaming from the horned monster in Torchwood. Series 1, Episode 13. Go and Google it after you've watched this and look it up. I think it's on YouTube. You're going to go and look at it now, I see. Yeah. End of Days. So really good. Series 1, Episode 13. So yeah, so it was good to experience War of the Worlds. I've never experienced that before, so I experienced it twice now. It was good to be in London again. I really love London, like a second home. And then obviously towards further on the latter part of the year, Queen Elizabeth the second, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II died. I have got to meet the Queen at St James's Palace before, and I won a Good Citizen Award for saving someone's life, and I actually got to speak to her in St James's Palace. I don't know if you can see the photographs. There they are. Can you see the photographs there? So that's me talking to the Queen, the first picture, and then the second picture. So me talking to her, and then the second picture just as she's gone by me. That's in St James's Palace. So yeah. That was quite sad for me because I met her in real life, and I had to explain that I was health buddy for community service volunteers and association with BBC Radio Devon, and basically I got Good Citizens Award for saving someone's life, and she said, "Oh, that's good." And I asked how her husband was at the time because he was alive, but he wasn't well. And he said, "Oh, he's doing well in Sandringham." And that's basically all I said to her. But it was really nice to talk to her. She was a really lovely person. She's more beautiful in person than in her photographs. And I really feel blessed that I got the opportunity. So it's sad when she passed away this year. And my close friend Vanessa, that day of the funeral, because I just couldn't watch the funeral on TV. She needed to move into a new student accommodation, so she asked me, and I said yes, I'd love to. So I helped her with that, and so our friendships developed quite a bit. Me and Roger do video calls, which develops our friendship as well. And I've spent some time with my best friend Andy. I went to Paint and Zoo with uh, Andy this year, and I went to Paint and Zoo with Sammy. Both of them at different times. I'm trying to remember. Yes, both of them at different times. And I had a wonderful Chinese in Paignton, really nice place there. And so yeah, so that was really good. I bought a book publishing course, another one which was called Self-Publishing Titans Masterclass. So I bought that as well. I haven't done much of that yet, and I haven't done much of the children's course because I'm busy trying to finish my Asexual Guide to Sex book off. And I do know pretty much what I'm doing with that. So I was hoping it would be out this year, but it's not. But next year I'm just going to be focusing on that a lot. I did actually grow a little bit my Make Money Make Cash channel, which is a much newer channel, and I'm known as the Asexual Entrepreneur there. So please do go and subscribe to that if you haven't already. And I started interviewing people on there, and it went really well. I've released the first interview. The second I've still got to edit because I've had to stop doing that because I've got to move. And it was really good because the first guy I interviewed, he had a lot of praise for me. He said he really loved my interview style. He loved the flow of my questions, and he thinks I have a very intuitive way of interviewing people. Like, I know when to speak and when to ask questions and when to listen. So that was really good positive feedback. I would like to grow that channel more, but obviously my main priority is always asexuality. My main priority is always looking after asexuals. Going towards the end of this year, I haven't been able to live stream as much because I've been having to deal with the grief of Angel. So if you didn't know, Angel's my guinea pig. She's been on this channel multiple times, and on the 4th of December, she died of pneumonia in my arms. I was at my parents for 3 days, spent the last 3 hours of her life with her, and she died in my arms with me kissing her and telling her I love her. But she died with really bad breathing difficulty. She couldn't breathe properly in the end and was gasping for breath, and it was quite a difficult way she left the world, but she was in the comfort of my arms and me doing my best for her. And by the end she couldn't even stand up, so the vet said she must have had a stroke or blood clot on the brain, likely a stroke in the end. So it was very difficult seeing her like that, but I'm so glad that I was there for her at the very end. And I was giving her lots of kisses and love and hugs and everything. She had 3 operations this year. So she had bladder stone removed at the beginning of January, and she had her paw cut open because she had like pus in it, and it had bumblefoot. And then later on, before she died, like a month or two before she died, like 6, I think it was like a month before she died, she had like 2 of her paws cut open because she couldn't even stand on them, they were full with blood. And so yeah, and so she's been through quite a lot of trauma this year, and that's probably made a bit more lower immune system. And then she caught pneumonia, and then within 3 days she's not here anymore. So she died on the 4th of December, and that's been really tough because 2 days later, on the 6th of December, my landlord gave me legal notice to leave this home. Now, he gave me illegal notice before to get out of here by the 27th of December, which is already past now. And I contacted the homelessness line for my council in the UK because I was going to be made homeless, which I still potentially face that. And they said that he has to give me legal notice. So they wrote to my landlord and told me it's got to be 2 months, not a month, and it has to basically be legal from the time he gives that. And so he gave that, and that was on the 6th of December. So I had Angel die on the 4th, and then my landlord, like, literally on the December the 6th, giving me notice, and I have to leave here by the 10th of February. Now, I spent hours searching for properties. I wasn't streaming on this channel very much at all. I've only started this week doing more streams for you, and I've still got a lot of stuff that I'm going to be doing. So over the coming weeks, like, until I'm fully settled in my new place, I won't be able to stream as much. I won't be able to be on this channel as much because I'll just have a lot to do. But I want to keep in contact with you. I love you to bits, as always. I want to support you. And so yeah, it's like kind of really stressful. So I spent up to 14 hours a day looking for properties in my city of Exeter, in London, and all over the UK, like in places like Plymouth and Torquay and other places, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to stay in Exeter or I'd have to move out because there's not much accommodation in Exeter. And I can't get a council place because I've got 1,700 plus people waiting for a council property in Exeter. And there's barely any places. I mean, there's less than 10 places at a time that are available. Sometimes it's like one or none, and you have to go on a list of priority. And obviously, because I've applied now and people are on the waiting list for a long, long time, then I'm way down the list. So that's no go. So I've had to try and find my own property. I finally found somewhere I like. It's a masonette, actually. It's called Flat, but it's a masonette on 2 levels. It's really close to the city centre. Brilliant for going clubbing and nightlife. The downside is, well, the positive side is got everything I want: washer, dryer, fridge, freezer. Although I have to take my own, I need another freezer, so I have to take my own freezer or fridge freezer. And it's got, like, it's self-contained, got its own toilet and shower. I can put my bed in there because it's unfurnished, but it does come with white goods, which is fridge, freezer, and stuff like that. And it's very small. This is the downside. So I've got to downsize my content, which I'm getting really upset about because I'm not going to be able to take much stuff with me. And I'm going to probably have to buy some really slim, tiny bits of furniture to move in there just to create some more storage. Literally, the bedroom upstairs can fit a double bed in, and pretty much that's it. And it's got some open shelving. And so it's like a walk-in wardrobe plus a bedroom at the same time. Like, a bed is in the middle of a walk-in wardrobe. It's very weird, but it's nice. It's cozy. It's got a shower, toilet, and it's got quite a lot of storage in the shower and toilet room, which is a room combined, even though it's small. And then downstairs, it's got the kitchen area. It's got a breakfast bar, which is really nice. It's got an area where I can put a desk, but I don't know if I can keep my workstation wardrobe or if I'm going to have to get rid of that and put a desk in, because it's got shelves there and I need to be able to remove the shelves and then put them back up when and if I leave. But I have been told by the letting agency that the landlord is 80 years old and doesn't know what's going to happen to him in the future. So I've got to pay 6 months rent up front in order to move there because I'm on benefits. And also, the landlord doesn't want to tie himself into a 12-month contract because he might need to go into a home or something might happen to him. He might not be alive anymore, this type of thing. So basically, I can stay there for 6 months, but I can't stay there indefinitely because the landlord's old. You know, and so I haven't got security of being there for years. I might be there for, just 6 months, or it could be longer than that, depending on if the landlord is still healthy enough to be in his own home, doesn't need to go into a home, and he's okay to still have the property. But if anything happens to him, like he dies or something, or has to go into a home, this was told to me, then, I have to move out. So after 6 months, it's likely to go on a 1-month rolling contract, but I might have to find somewhere else to live because it's not going to be stable for me. And that's what they're talking about at the moment, 1-month rolling contract after 6 months. But I don't know if I'm going to have to, I still need to save up 6 months in case he does decide he wants another 6-month contract. And also, if I need to move somewhere else, which is highly likely I might, or I can't stay there indefinitely anyway, then I'm going to need another 6 months rent up front. So I'm going to have to save up again. So that's kind of hard. But yeah, so I'm in a situation now where I'm coming to terms with Angel's death, but it is really, really difficult for me. I'm still grieving. I'm having to move. I found somewhere that I want to move to. I've put a holding deposit down, but they're doing the referencing currently. So I don't know for definite I got that. I haven't signed a tenancy agreement yet. I haven't paid the full deposit or rent up front yet. If I'm successful, then hopefully I should have the keys on the 9th of January, but there'll be a crossover between this place and that place where I literally pack up my stuff, have to get removal vans, have to get furniture. First of all, I want to go in there and measure and see what furniture I can buy to put up in there to help me be able to move in there and have some storage, because at the moment there's barely any storage, which means I'll probably be able to take my clothes, maybe some music, maybe some cuddly toys, and maybe some films, and like my office stuff, but not much else. It's gonna be really difficult for me. Probably gonna have to sell my washer dryer by the look of it, unless I can find somewhere to store it in there, but I don't think there is anywhere. Probably gonna have to get rid of my washer dryer, which cost over £500 because I've got a 10 kilogram drum one. Especially I bought it a couple of years ago. It was the most expensive washer dryer I've ever bought in my life, and that was to help, me to stop bending down as much with my fibromyalgia, and also because it meant that I could put more items of clothing in there at once, which would save money, doing one wash rather than two. So I'm going back to a small drum again with the landlord's own one in there, but at least it's got a washer dryer. A lot of the places I saw either didn't have any washer dryer whatsoever, didn't even have a washing machine, or they had a washing machine with no dryer. It's like I need to be able to dry my clothes, and towels I can't usually dry by hanging them out. And I shower regularly, usually daily, most of the time, and I just go through towels a week, like bundles of them, and I change my pajamas regularly and all sorts. So I really need to be able to do lots of washes, 2 or 3 a week usually. So, it's going to be sad to have to let the washer dry go, because if I do need to move again in 6 months' time, I'll probably might need that back. And so this makes it more difficult for me, because it's like I might have to get rid of it just to buy another one in 6 months' time. So that's kind of hard and up in the air. I don't like up in the air situations. Um, some good highlights as well from this year, which I haven't mentioned yet, are the Bollywood parties. So I promised myself at the beginning of the year, when I broke my ankle again this year, that I wanted to get better in order to go to a Bollywood party on or before Christmas. So, well, I say on Christmas, nothing's open Christmas. So basically before the new year, like I wanted to go to a Bollywood party. I thought it was going to be in London at the time when I said that, and I wanted to go to it. It was my dream to do that and be around Indian guys, Indian people, and just soak up the atmosphere. As it happens, I did get my ankle better a lot quicker, and I thought, well, I'll start with Exeter, because it's better to go to Bollywood event in my city where I feel safe and secure and know my way around, than go to somewhere in London where I have no idea what it's going to be like, no idea of the safety aspect, no idea what to expect. So that's when I started connecting with not asexuals. I wish it was asexual. That's when I started connecting with Indian Society, the University of Indian Society, and that's when I started going to Bollywood events. So I went to 2 Bollywood events arranged by the University of Exeter Indian Society, and one arranged by Asian Society. And I went to 3 Bollywood events this year at different nightclubs, and I had an absolute whale of a time. It was a dream come true for me. So I've had 2 Indian dreams come true for me this year. One is a date, actual official date with an Indian guy, and then the other one was go to a Bollywood party. But when I go to these Bollywood parties, there are some guys that get interested in me, but literally they're the wrong guys for me. Like, because usually they smoke or have a beard or both, and I can't be with a smoker in a relationship ever, or even to kiss. I just can't do it, because it really affects my health so badly. And so, like, yeah, and so I can't be with a smoker, and facial hair is a real turn off for me. I am so repulsed by facial hair, so repulsed. I just cannot. I can hold a guy's hand who's got facial hair, but that's like as close as I can get to him, really, and a hug as a friend. But in terms of, like, kissing and stuff, I can't kiss a guy with a beard. Like, I haven't done it yet. There was one guy that had like a shorter beard that I really did want to kiss, who was at a Bollywood event I went to, and his lips were beautiful, and he was really nice to look at, and he had short beard. And I did think if he didn't smoke, I would have given that a go, which would have been very weird for me, because I hate beards. But big bushy beards are just like way out of the question. I don't like guys with beards, full stop, to be honest with you. Like, if in a relationship, I've never ever been in a relationship with a guy who has had facial hair. They've all been clean shaven, because that's what I like. I like clean shaven guys. I don't like guys with facial hair. I hate it. Like, and most guys with facial hair won't shave their beard off and tash. And if they do that, it's temporary. They're not going to do it all the time. They might do it on like a one date or something. They don't realize that how much it means to me is that I need it clean shaven 24/7. I cannot be doing with any facial hair, because it just repulses me. And the more they have facial hair, the more and more it repulses me, the less and less I want to kiss them, the less and less I'm aesthetically attracted to them. So it would be a major, major problem if I was in a relationship with a guy who I developed love feelings for, and then he started getting beard. I know it sounds weird, and you should think maybe, oh, well, looks aren't that important. But to me, I get really repulsed by facial hair, specifically beard, so much, really badly. And so it would be less and less attractive for me. And if he developed a really bushy beard, it would really put me off. I mean, I wouldn't want to kiss him. I'd just feel like cringing. So it's really important. I really need to find a guy who's like clean shaven and loves being clean shaven and keeping it clean shaven all the time, because I just love the feeling of really baby soft, smooth skin. And I like kissing a guy who doesn't drink any or much alcohol and who's smoke free, definitely smoke free. Alcohol I can put up with more, but I've got an allergy to sugar. So if I kiss him and tongue kiss him, I'm like tasting sugar. Minaki, I can tolerate a really light fuzz, but mustaches and beards, not at all. Ah, yeah. Yes, I have, like, I did let an Indian guy kiss me in a club once, which was a dream come true. But he had a tash, like a little tash, but that I wasn't as attracted to him as I could have been. So the experience, that's the first time I've really kissed a guy that's like had that type of, had facial hair. This was like I met in a nightclub. We didn't see each other afterwards, but I wasn't that attracted to him as I could have been. And so it would have made the whole experience much more exciting and better for me had that happened and it had no facial hair. I know that I could have been much more into the situation. Like, sometimes I get aroused for kissing. I don't want sex, but sometimes I get aroused for kissing. I didn't get aroused with that guy I was kissing at all, and he had a tash, and I think that's part of the reason. And I wasn't even like, there was no response in my whole body apart from the action of kissing. It was weird. It was like clogs down there. It was like there was no feeling, like, physically, apart from I really thought I have to concentrate on the lips and the kiss itself, nothing else, because, like, I wasn't so aesthetically attracted to him as I could have been. And when I'm aesthetically attracted to a guy, like really aesthetically attracted to him, kissing him, it just makes the whole experience so much more exciting and better. And it makes me want to be more physically close to him and more comfortable being physically close to him. And it just feels like so much more bliss and euphoric for me. So, that's the way I personally feel. And I just like really repulsed. I got a real aversion to facial hair. There's like one guy, and he's like had such a bushy beard. It's like I had to tell him straight afterwards because he is connected to me on Instagram. We're fine as a friend, but he would have liked friends with benefits. And I told him I'm not going there. I don't do that. And I can't be with a guy kissing him anyway. He's got a beard. And so yeah, so there's been like 3 guys that's connected with me from the Bollywood events, all of which I think I'm still connected to on Instagram. One of them I unfollowed because I just didn't want to follow him anymore because he was the one who made an excuse not to turn up to the date that he'd organized with me. And then the other 2, basically, one of them I had to tell straight that he has facial hair, and I just can't be close to a guy with facial hair. He was nice to talk to when I saw him, but I just had to tell him the truth. And the other guy, like, facial hair, big bushy beard, no good whatsoever. And he, like, at the last Bollywood event, because we've still remained friends, he tried to like force me to drink alcohol. It's like down my throat. It was horrible. So I told him, like, don't ever do that again. Don't ever try to do that again to me. But he just, like, we don't talk much anymore because I made it clear that I would not have friends with benefits with him at all, because he doesn't want a committed relationship or anything like that with me. But he was talking, he was asking me, like, what do I want then? And he'll go with whatever I want. I said, I don't do that type of thing. I'm not interested in short-term casual friends with benefits relationship. Like, that's it basically. So we didn't speak for a while, but I speak to like, I messaged him one time, and like, he looks like someone out of a Hindu movie I saw. And then I like his post because he's in London at the moment. I do love London myself, so I have some stuff in common. I don't think, I still can, like, because obviously I'm going to go to Bollywood events again. I'm going to see these guys probably again, and so I still want to stay on friendly terms with them. Because I haven't, like, nothing really bad has happened between me and these people because I've stopped it from going any further. Or, like, yeah, the first guy let me down, but at least he did actually say that he wasn't going to show up for the date like 45 minutes before. He made up some excuse, but at least he had the guts to tell me that, which I respect. And so, like, I haven't had any really bad dealings with these guys, as in the sense that I've spoken my mind and told the truth and told them if I'm not happy with something and put an end to it. So I can still, like, spend time with these people in the same atmosphere as them if I go to a Bollywood event again. There's no hard feelings between me and these people, which is what I want to make sure I keep. I don't want there to be hard feelings between me and these people because I still want to go to Bollywood events in the coming year in 2023, which would be really nice. So tonight I'm going to my first ever New Year's Eve party in my city on my own. I'm quite nervous about it, quite scared in some ways because obviously I don't really know what to expect being out New Year's Eve night on my own. I expect there'll be very, very drunk people, but I'm going to Revolution, which is one of the places I went to for a Bollywood event. Now, there was two places I could have gone to, and I think I would like both of them, so I couldn't choose between them. And so I'm not sure if I've made the right decision completely, but I think I have. So basically, I decided to go with Revolution because it's an experience there. So it's got like a circus type of acts going on. So it's got dancers, we've got aerialists, it's got stilt walkers and fire breathers. But I've been there before and it's very hard to find somewhere to put your bag. That's the only problem. You can put it by a chair or something, a booth, but unless you've hired the booth, you can't really keep it there. So it's very difficult to know where to put your bag. And that's the only issue I foresee that I'm gonna have there. I'm gonna have to try and put it on a side bit or a table and try and make sure my personal belongings are near me. So that might cause me some issues going there. Whereas the other place that I've been to a long time ago, that has a place to store your bags and stuff. So I'm not sure if I should have gone to the other place, but the other place is going to be all neon lights and glow sticks and everything. It looks really good, but it's not got the experience of all the still walkers and circus type of acts. So I decided to pick the circus type of acts because it's a bit more sophisticated as well. It's like a bar, and also I felt really safe there when I went there before. And safety is very important to me when I'm out on my own, especially New Year's Eve. And it's closer to walking back home because there's no taxis. So it looks like I'm going to have to walk home. Um, but yeah, so it's gonna be like a very interesting experience going out tonight on my own. I usually spend New Year's Eve with my parents, but I'm gonna be going around to their house tomorrow. I'm gonna go for lunch. My dad's gonna pick me up. I'm gonna spend tomorrow night and the 2nd of January with them. So I'm gonna be staying over there till the 3rd. So I'll still get to see my parents, but I won't see the new year and specifically from midnight with them because I'll be at the club tonight and it's a confetti countdown apparently. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the club tonight. I'm very nervous because it's on my own, and like all the booths are booked up, and like I'm going by myself. So like I don't mind going by myself usually because I go to my favorite club, but my favorite club is fully booked up. And so I've only been to this club once and it's out of my comfort zone in the fact that I've only been once. And also I get worried about where do I put my bag and stuff. So that's always on my mind because I can't just take a flimsy little bag. I have to take water and stuff because I can't drink alcohol. I don't like it, and it's no good for me anyway because I'm allergic to sugar. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about this stuff, but I'm sure it'll work itself out in the end. And also, I plan to go to Nando's before, so I expect it's gonna be really busy tonight in Nando's. So I'm gonna hopefully have some food beforehand because I really need food beforehand. Then I've got to be at the club by 10 o'clock at the latest. So it's going to be really, really interesting for me. Really interesting night. It's going to be good to do something different. Good to relieve stress because I've been under a lot of stress. What with Angel dying and the move coming up. I've still got paperwork to do for my accounts to finish off. And so that's got to take priority at the moment. I've still got a video to finish for Make Money, Make Cash channel. My Asexualise Academy Club, I've decided instead of doing the journal, I'm going to be doing more and reading personal and professional development stuff out from that. I've connected with the members and I've decided that rather than doing the journal, I'm going to be doing more like one video a week, which will be more to do with dating and relationships. Maybe some confidence. So basically, like what's on this channel, but exclusive for members in there, but even more in-depth advice and guidance. So I'm changing what I'm doing in that because I think it'll be more beneficial for the people in the club. If you haven't already joined Asexualise Academy Club, you can check it out on asexualise.com. I'll be doing a relaunch of that in the coming year after I'm settled in my new home. So at the moment, this website's still showing the journal, but I'll have to be changing that around shortly because I think members will benefit more from dating and relationship advice, that type of thing. So yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff coming up. Asexual Guide to Sex will definitely be out next year. Like I know for a fact because I'm gonna make it my priority and I will get everything else out of the way to do that. A lot of the stuff this year that I've been dealing with behind the scenes, a lot of that, is getting out of the way now. I'm glad that I'm going to be staying in Exeter. I have to say that because I didn't really want to move from Exeter. I worked out really Exeter's the best place for me to stay and be. It's a place where I'm happiest. I looked at London compared to Exeter. London obviously is a lot more expensive, But also London is really good for career opportunities. I would never say never to moving to London because I've still always got it in my mind that maybe I want to move there in the future. But to be honest, right now, I prefer Exeter. I want to stay in Exeter. I love Exeter. And personally, there's more benefits for me staying in Exeter. In London, there's more career opportunities, technically speaking. But in terms of like safety, in terms of like health, in terms of like, having everything I need around me, Exeter's got everything I need. I mean, it's got 3 train stations. It's got like 4 Wetherspoons pubs. It's got 2 Nando's. Easy access to get to Plymouth for the aquarium. Easy access to go to a train for London to see London, to see my friends. People come from around the country for meetups in my city. Obviously, it's harder because there's rail strikes on at the moment in the UK. I know my way around the city really easily. It's one of the safest cities in the whole of the UK. And I just feel good here. My favorite club's here, so I like going to that. I can go to that more regularly when I moving to live closer. It will save me a lot of taxi fares as well doing that, and it'll be good for my body. I find that dancing really helps my fibromyalgia pain because it really, like, once I get moving, it's really good exercise for my body, and it really, really helps me relax and de-stress. And so I feel so euphoric and at peace with my soul dancing. So it's something I want to do more and more of in the new year. So I'm really looking forward to tonight, but I am really nervous. It's a new experience for me. I think, I've had new experiences this year. I've made 2 close asexual friends. Vanessa and Roger are both asexual. I've spent time with my best asexual friend, Sammy, and my other best friend. I've, celebrated Sammy's 40th birthday with them. I've been to all the world's events. I've experienced dates in person and Facebook dating. I've had my first official date with an Indian guy and kissed them in public, which is really nice. And I've also been to Bollywood events and been around Indian people, soaking up their Indian Bollywood culture and that life really nice. I've overcome my ankle break last year and this year to be able to do high octane energy dancing again. I've been able to you know deal with the fact that Angel's no longer here. I'm currently dealing with the fact that that my landlord's selling and I've got to move out or face homelessness. I currently have a property hopefully I'm going to move to in the new year. And I've overcome some legal stuff and it's all good. It's really, really good, positive overall. I've gained in confidence, I'd say, more as a dancer, more as a person. Going to these Bollywood events takes a lot of courage, doing that on your own, especially when they're predominantly students I'm going with. My best friend is Sammy, obviously. Then I've got my best friend Andy, my close friends are Vanessa and Roger. And then Vanessa is actually a student. She's 21 student, so from Hong Kong. So she's Asian herself, not Indian, but Asian. And so I get on really well with her. Roger's 27, so I am talking to people in their 20s. 2 of my close friends are in their 20s. And then, and I've got over like a lot of the upset and pain like I had at the beginning of the year. I've got through a lot of that. I had some therapy for it. I'll be hopefully having some more in the new year to clear up any kind of like old trauma stuff. My life is a lot better. I have nearly finished my Asexual Guide to Sex book now. So the draft of my part's nearly done, almost finished. But I will be finishing that for definite next year. I'm going to just make that priority. I know I've kept saying it for years, it's going to be published, it's going to be published, but I have nearly completely finished it now, my part. But then I've got to like do editing in my part. All the stories have been edited and finished, but there's some editing still I need to do mine, and then all the formatting. It's going to be difficult with this book, and I need to get my book into bookstores next year. That's going to be a huge deal for me, trying to get my book into bookstores. I want to get my Asexual Guide to Sex into bookstores if I can. That's going to be hard. It's a very thick book as well. So I'm gonna have to see what happens with that. I've got a lot of work to do. I've got 3 to 6 months work to do that, basically. That's what I'm gonna be focused on next year the most. So that's gonna be quite tough doing that, I think, but it'll be worth it. And I can't wait till it comes out. I really need it out now. And then in the future, I know what other books I'm gonna be doing for asexuals next. There's 2 other ones I want to do, but they'll be much smaller, shorter books. which I'll be really glad about, because I need to get some shorter books out for asexuals quicker than this. Like, literally, this is like the encyclopedia of Asexual Guide to Sex for asexuals and anyone else that's a virgin and doesn't know what to do in sex. Basically, it's the ultimate guide to sex, you know. So it's like a reference book for life. I didn't mean it to be this big. I could still split into 2 books if I wanted to, but it's meant to go together on purpose, if you know what I mean. Or I could duplicate some of the contents, like the asexual sex stories, and put them in a separate book. I've still considered that, actually. Doing that is still a possibility, for doing that as a duplicate, you know, to just get the sex stories on their own or buy the whole book. So I'm toying with that idea at the moment, and it's a huge possibility. But anyway, yeah, I think it's really good to end the year on a high. Even though this home I won't be in for much longer, I will be in a new home hopefully for the new year, and it'll be a new life for me. And I should have my office downstairs separate to my bedroom, which will be quite nice. Maybe that will help me really focus on my writing a lot more, my book publishing business more, and help me to get back into that frame of mind. Hopefully, when things have settled down with all the kind of ups and downs of this year, that next year will be a much more even keel, so that I'll be able to socialize more, in terms of more regularly, like doing the dancing and stuff, maybe going to meetup.com groups more for 20s and 30s people, that type of thing. But specifically, I want to go to my club more, my you know, like Timepiece nightclub. I love, like, it's got world music, like foreign music. I love foreign music now more than British. It would seem, in American. And also, you know, like, go to more Bollywood events. And you know, I want to just enjoy my asexual life, you know. In terms of asexuality, you know, I've had people come into my meetups. There's another girl called Katie who comes to my meetup. She's really nice as well. She came this year, started coming this year, so that's been really, really good. One member who used to come to my meetups, I had to let go from them, and not let them come anymore, because they weren't who I thought they were, and they're not actually asexual. So that was that. And you know, and so yeah, it's going to be good next year. You know, there's going to be a lot of changes happening very soon. January to February time, that's when I'm going to be moving. By the 10th of February, I've got to be out of here. So January is going to be like quite busy for me packing up. I'm going to probably be without internet for a while I swap over to the new home as well. I'll just let you know that in advance. But overall, I think I've had a really good year. You know, I've overcome a lot of difficulties this year. I've got a lot of difficulties out of the way now for the end of the year. I've still got some stress going on at the moment with the moving and grieving. But I'm looking forward to a really good night tonight. I've helped myself a lot this year. I've made decisions faster. I've stuck to my decisions. I've stuck up for myself. I've defended myself. I'm proud of loving me. I'm proud of the way things have gone. So what I'd like you to do now from this video is, I'd like you to reflect on your 2022, on your greatest achievements and successes, things you started to do that you hadn't done before. Because a lot of the time, as we live with ourselves all the time, we forget our greatest achievements and successes of the year. We tend to just focus maybe on the now, and we don't look back at how far we've come. It's really important that we assess ourselves and look back how far we've come, and that we realize that, you know, it's a long way we've come. We've achieved a lot. We've got through a lot this year, and that we are strong because of it, and that we are amazing people just by doing that. You know, it takes guts to be alive, really. It takes guts to be alive and work through situations, and you know, to fight in this life for yourself, if you know what I mean. And so if you've done that, if you've got out of bed each day and you've been fighting for yourself, and you've been like trying to help yourself as much as possible, I applaud you. And I would encourage you to look back at the year and think, what have I achieved? Like, what difficult situations have I got myself out of? How am I dealing with things now? What difficult things am I dealing with? What's the good highlights of my year? Obviously, I went to Bream Theme Park as well. I didn't mention that. I've been there twice, once for my actual birthday. This year, was it like, oh, well, it wasn't on my actual birthday, because I went with my friend Vanessa to the aquarium, but it was like a belated birthday from the previous year that I never went to. So I went later on in the year with my, I went in the morning with my friend Andy to the venue, but he didn't want to go in the, actual Bream theme park. So I just went on my own, and then I went with Vanessa another time and had an absolute blast. So that was really, really good as well. And the Christmas market I went to, I think I mentioned earlier with Vanessa, that was really nice. And so I've had some really, really wonderful, lovely experiences. Been to the aquarium this year, been to zoos, been to War of the Worlds event, been to the theme park. And so these are all my favorite things to do, theme parks, zoos, aquariums, been into the cinema multiple times, been out for meals to Nando's. And I just love that, going to theme parks, zoos, aquariums, out to the cinema, and out for meals and food, and I've had some experiences with Indian guys, which has been interesting, amazing, incredible, difficult sometimes. But some of it was uncomfortable, like when I had some like guys dancing with me in one of the Bollywood events and they were getting a bit too sexual. So, one was going to touch my breast and I had to say no to that and like move away quickly. So as an asexual person, that's quite hard to deal with. But and I joined an Indian group on Facebook, which was a dating group for Indians, and I had a post in there for ages, but I kept getting people come through that basically just wanted sex or long distance relationships. They're no good for me, and I couldn't find anyone suitable in that. But I still hold out hope that I can find my Indian asexual soulmate one day. And I think maybe like I am open to maybe this person not being Indian, but my intuition and heart isn't, if you know what I mean. Like I think, well, maybe I'd be better being with a British guy, for example, because with a British guy, he doesn't care really so much what people think. He can kiss in public, hold hands in public, really doesn't bother him. And that's what I do like about British guys. They're a lot more less reserved. They're a lot more less worried about what people think of them, and they just like do whatever they want basically. And I like that freedom aspect of them. So like maybe if I had a foreign looking British guy, it might be all right. Or British born Indian guy would be great. But Indian guys in general, they tend to like want sex, marriage, kids, or either all three of them, or at least one of them, or two of them. And I'm really not interested in having sex, and I don't want marriage. I don't like to be tied into that contractual agreement where usually the woman is subservient to the guy. And if things, when they get married, people change a lot of the time, and it's not good. I personally don't like that. My parents have been married for 53 years this year, and I'm really proud to say that. I'm really happy they have. I'm really glad they've got a good relationship. But personally, I wouldn't want their type of relationship, in the sense my dad's like a going out to work type of guy, although he's retired now, but he still has a non-profit that he does a bit with. And my mum's like a housewife. She's still a housewife, so they have that relationship. In some ways, it's a very traditional style of relationships, similar to Indian style marriages. But it's not what I would want. I want a guy who wants love without sex, pure love without sex, and a guy who's Indian but with got an older soul, who will take care of me, hold my hand, like be proud to be seen in public with me, go out, like have a very kind of mature way about him, probably about 23 years old, but very mature at the same time, mature, and who like respectfully loves me and who values me, appreciates me, and who like wants me in his life and is not afraid to introduce me to his family. And if I don't get married to him, he still wants to be with me, and he's okay with me not having sex, and he loves kissing even in public as much as I do, and holding hands, and just wants a great life with me. That's the type of thing, and doesn't need kids. I believe there is at least one Indian guy out there in the UK like that. um but if I don't meet that person, I'm all right being single on my own. And I think in 2023, I really need to aim to stay single as much as possible, unless I meet the right guy, because I think it's better for me to be young, free, single, happy, socialize a lot, go wherever I want, when I want, go clubbing more, maybe go to different clubs more, have the time of my life more, and just live the young teenager lifestyle, 21 mindset I really want to live more of and be more of. I think when I'm more at one with my soul, I'm going to be far more happier, more energized in my life. I'm going to do a lot more healing. And obviously, I'm still going to try and get some therapy for any unhealed trauma or things that I need to clear out of my energetic field and life, to make room for space for healthier things. And I just think really positive at the moment. I think it's going to be a great year next year, because I'm going to get on loads of podcasts for my Asexualise sex book. I set myself a challenge of trying to get on 100 podcasts next year. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try my best. Even if I get halfway there, it'll be good, right? So I set myself some big goals like that, you know. So what goals are you setting yourself for 2023? I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Please post in the comments down below what your goals are for 2023, or what your intentions are. Maybe is even better, because when you're intentional about something, you're more likely to make it happen. When you've got goals, they might make them happen or not. So what are your intentions? 5 intentions, or even 1 intention for next year. What do you want to achieve next year more than anything in the world? It'd be amazing if you achieved it. I wish you all lots of love, success, and happiness, and light, and healthy healing to come your way between now and the new year, tonight, and throughout the whole of 2023 and beyond, for all the new years. I wish everyone to be happy in their life, to have love and care about them. I wish everyone who's single, who wants to find a relationship, I wish for them to find a healthy relationship for them, and for them to be a healthy person for another person to be in a relationship with them. I wish everyone to work on themselves who needs to work on themselves, which is pretty much the entire population, because we've all got issues, right? And I think, you know, that I just want everyone to be happy and to have love in their life and be loved. I love you so much. I really appreciate you being on this channel. Happy New Year for 2023. And I love you to bits. If you haven't resubscribed, please subscribe right now to this channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Grab your copy of Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories on Amazon. This is a great book for asexuality, because it shows you all across the asexual spectrum what it's like to be asexual from different asexual point of views in terms of love, life, dating, and relationships. A lot of the time it's specifically love, life, and sex, but obviously sex plays into relationships. I think the Asexual Guide to Sex book I'm going to be publishing next year, that will be a lot more focused on relationships and choosing your partner for a relationship. This is more like relationships that have happened in the past, and difficulties encountered and things overcome, and it gives a lot of good asexual advice in there. And this is my other book, Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. It's great if you do have depression, anxiety. It does teach you a lot of techniques in here to manage your life better, to have less energy, more energy, sorry, more energy, less pain. I was going to say less pain, more energy, because you've got less pain in your life and feel happier. So someone's going to cut that and quote me from it now. It gives you less energy. It doesn't give you less energy. This book will help give you more energy and less pain, and feel happier, like a superhero rock star. So it's told in a very superhero style of book. You know, you must see that from the cover. Superhero, that's me as Ace Fiber Girl. So yeah, go and live your ace dreams, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Lots of love. Thanks to everyone in chat today. That's Liam, Neely. Is that Neely? Is that how you pronounce it? And Minaki. Anyway, thank you so much for being in chat. Lots of love. I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Take care. Bye.